Hello, Blue Pearl Oracle Astrology here, aka Rodney Goodwin, Hardcore Productions. Back with another segment on mental health, calling it the mind virus and purging the parasite part two. We're going to get into a deeper aspect of the mind virus, deeper aspect of the parasite, even getting into the physical aspect of how the parasite operates, and then solutions that are going to help basically purge things out on not only an etheric level but a physical level as well. There will be links in the descriptions below where you can get a hold of products that are going to help you clear things out in your physical makeup, and then also practices and things that you can do on an etheric level as well that will definitely help you to level up your consciousness, because the parasites are, really, when you get down to what's trying to enter our reality in context to the old ones, and the AI debug aspect and the needlecraft of what's going on here, it's trying to take over literally the consciousness of the planet on another level. I'm not saying that the parasite is still here. It's very active. It's very much here. But in context to that, we have to learn how to route that out, how to burn that out, how to bring ourselves into the biospiritual regenesis and the alchemical process as we're leveling up our consciousness and accessing higher harmonic universes in context. So what we have to do here is we have to be able to really move and take care of the things that we need to actually take care of as mages, bring things into a place where we are truly being proactive and doing the Saturnian work in context to forging something and forging a legacy in ourselves, and then allowing vibrational correspondence in context to our state of mind then to kick in and bring that into a place where our choices then are on a higher level. So this is about burning out that parasite, clearing it out. This is evil, and once you realize the evil doesn't give a shit, it's going to do what it's going to do. You have to face that, and you have to literally purge that evil out of your system. And that's the parasitical consciousness that we're dealing with. So this segment is really dealing with a lot of different aspects that we get into, that everyone brings their level of expertise to the table, in context to what we're getting at here with the whole segment itself, and being part two. Go check out part one, the mind virus. I want you to understand that this is war on consciousness that we're in, and we can't back down. We have to continue to forge the process to the Saturnian aspect, and then the take up the activation of our Jupiter aspect to our galactic center as mages, and bring things online into a higher space, a higher dimensional awareness. Okay, let's get into it. Much love. Blue Pearl Oracle out.
I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. An hour of wolves and shattered shields when the age of men comes crashing down. But it is not this day. This day we fight. By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of the West!
Frodo.
Okay, welcome to this podcast, Secrets of the Mage, Episode 5, The Mind Virus, Purging the Parasite, Part 2. This is going to be a great segment, a lot of information in this segment. And as you just saw in the video before, we shall overcome as mages. You know, we are going to purge this out of the reality field one fucking way or another. So we're going to get into it here. This first part, we're getting into more physical aspects. But again, Ashley Weiss breaks down the serotonin uptake, SSRI aspect here in the beginning, and then we get into multiple other aspects here that are going on with purging, the parasite, how things work. So, okay, everybody, here we go.
I have a theory that those SNRIs or even the SSRIs cause magnesium deficiency because they alter your electrolyte balance within the body, and so you can, of course, counteract that. But knowing what I know about antidepressants, I just try to guide people completely away from it because I know what I did worked. It is possible. It's not just a rumor, it is possible to get off of them and not identify that you are depressed for the rest of your life, which I see people doing. People used to say, oh, I'm treating my depression. Now they say I am depressed. And that's how they identify, like, as part of their personality trait. It's permanent. Like I used, somebody might say that they have a hobby, like I suffer from depression or I am depressed, and they're on the pills forever instead of just like a short treatment because they can't get off of them.
Yeah, once you get on those, like I've never been on them. I've never had that, but once you get on them, I guess it's like really difficult once you've like developed a chemistry and a brain addiction to them, in context of the serotonin and stuff that's going on. It really just reconfigures your whole brain chemistry, I guess.
It absolutely does. The one I was on attacked a specific serotonin receptor site. I think it was the HTP1A. And so that's why psychedelics are so effective, because psychedelics specifically hit that one receptor site, I think out of 14 receptor sites that are different serotonin from the brain all the way through your third brain in the intestines, which is the majority of where, and so it causes abdominal disturbances all over again with, your bowels and your appetite. And, the one I took didn't work right if I didn't take and eat it worked best if I ate crap. If I ate fatty, nasty foods, then it would really absorb and I would be less depressed that day. Well, of course, I gained weight because of it. And then it gave me leaky gut, which gave me a whole other host of immune problems, and allergies. It's a never-ending stair step of problems.
And you can't absorb those vitamins and minerals properly, and then you get deficiencies of all kind and blood deficiency. Yeah, that's why those like the beef liver and stuff like that is so good, because it's got such an array of trace minerals, like from chromium to copper, magnesium, B12, vitamin K2. So all these trace minerals that a lot of foods don't contain. And that synergy between the copper and the iron, I've been reading a lot about this and how they actually help each other absorb. So a lot of people are eating really iron-rich food, but it doesn't have the copper, so it's oxidizing in their blood and just creating oxidative stress. So that's why that beef liver is so amazing, because it's bioavailable copper. And that has this amazing synergy. And with magnesium as well, they all work together, and the B vitamins and stuff like that. So I've been taking the bee pollen as well, because that's a really good source of natural B vitamins, and it's an anti-inflammatory, which is another huge thing we're all dealing with. Inflammation and depression can be inflammation of the brain, and the gut and all these.
Right.
I would say that that's an unknown, undiscussed causation of a lot of depression in the modern world, because we're constantly inflamed from all of the different things that we're having to detoxify from all the time.
Exactly.
FDA, the gatekeepers to the dark sorcery.
Exactly.
Yeah. Pharmakia, man. It's pharmakia. It's what deceived the nations. Literally. It's what has deceived the nations in context.
The recent guidelines, the nutritional guidelines that the U.S. government came from without, looks like they were designed by an 8-year-old with a sugar high. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was like a like a joke, like a parody whenever I saw it, like it was on Babylon Bee or something. And it was the real deal. I was blown away. You ought to look them up. It's hysterical. They basically lead to eating sugary cereals and no protein and basically no meat. And they want you eating sugary grains, Pop-Tarts.
Which fat is really good if it's the right fats, that's the building blocks, and that helps our brain function and reduces inflammation. And they demonize fat, for example, telling people get this low 99% fat-free, high carb, processed, genetically modified cereal. instead of having an avocado or, all these other amazing things that are
right.
delicious. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that actually used beef tallow in stuff, like in stuff, and I was like, dude, man, that's crazy. It's like pure fat. But he swears by it. I mean, he's just like, no, man. This has all kinds of mineral, all kinds of stuff in it that we don't get.
Yeah. All the omegas, they're really important.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need that
I know
stuff.
that all of our ancestors ate organ meat, or they ate, actually, I mean, maybe some of them didn't even eat organ meat, but the ground still had nutrients in it. The way that we've chosen to farm, the plants can't have nothing to even pull out of the ground.
No. I have a bandmate that works for a company called the Land Institute here. And basically what they do is they try to come up with solutions to get plants, to basically grow in this new environment that we have, because all the chem spraying that's went on over the past 40 years, since 1970s, really is when it started. Because I remember as a kid, I go back and look at old photographs now, like 1980, 1979, 1980. There's chemtrails in the sky behind me.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Haven't noticed. Huh.
I just pulled some up the other day. Pulled some up the other day.
Yeah. Is that a timeline shift? Because when I was a kid, I remember the sky being deep blue. And then I didn't really notice the spraying until maybe my late teens, early 20s. And then I noticed a change. But maybe we got it later here in Australia. But yeah, there was a stark difference between the contrast.
I don't know, ma'am. I literally, my mom gave me a memory book of like me growing up, and then my teenage years and stuff, and I got two big thick books full of pictures, and I was looking at the pictures. I was looking back behind, and there were chemtrails in the back behind there. And this was like 1980, 1981, 80, 79, 80, 81 time frame.
That's so crazy. I laid out in the fields. I lived on a farm when I was a kid. I don't ever remember seeing them. I was born in 80.
So they may have been doing this for quite some time, but it just became like conscious, within the last 20 years or so, 25, where we really started to see these patterns that they put up into the sky, these grids,
And still a lot of people can't see them. They'll walk around, the whole sky could be one big crisscross grid, and they're just walking around going, oh, isn't it a beautiful day? And just thinking, wow, can't you see this? And they just can't see it. It's not in their reality. They just think it's a cloud. It's bizarre. Yeah, I've seen this time and time again.
I swear to God, I have talked with people about this, and they tell me those are just contrails. That's just water vapor or, fuel or whatever. And I look at them and I say, I'm watching this shit like literally form into a mist, over the whole area. And they're like, oh no, those are clouds. I said, those are not, those are chemicals. That's nanotechnology right there.
Exactly.
That we're dealing with. You are breathing in nanoparticles, and you don't even know it. Talk about a breaking of cosmic principle.
Anything with smart in the front of it seems to be quite destructive.
Just think about that alone. Just that alone. That aspect alone. Them spraying this shit over us like cockroaches. Spraying us without our consent. That's a break. That is an actual breaking of cosmic principle.
Karma's building for them. The pendulum has been pulled to the edge of where it can go.
Yeah,
I think at this point.
Yeah, the hammer's going to fall on their ass, man.
Yeah.
There's enough of us now that don't consent, and we see what they're doing, and we're actually, acknowledging it. And that was the only way they were getting exemption from their karmic implication, was because they were fooling people into consent. But now there's enough of us to see.
That's right.
They have drones here now doing it too, not so much airplanes, because I think the airplanes were getting too much attention. People were noticing. So now it's just these really small drones go past and spray the sky. So yeah, you don't see the aircraft. Like a few years ago, it was way more noticeable with the aircraft. Now you just see the lines. Yeah, like we can overcome these frequencies if we're vibrating at a higher frequency. And this is something I discovered with this type of stuff. The more you work on that multidimensional level of clearing out your body, clearing out, your emotions, your spirit, like clearing those sabotage programs, all those, ancestral bonds and all that stuff that we're talking about. You're able to vibrate on a higher frequency that is transcending, in a sense, that toxic shit, basically. And we can purge it out so much faster that we're not affected by it in the same way as when you're in fear and when you're in anxiety or any of these lower frequency emotions. Yeah, something I've experienced firsthand, the contrast of both and being in that fear and having like full impact of this nanotechnology and feeling really unwell from it, and then being able to clear and clean out my body and get to a point now where it doesn't actually bother me. I feel like I'm still able to be healthy and in homeostasis, even if all this environmental stuff is going on. So yeah, but it takes a lot of work. Like, as we all know, we've all been doing this. Yeah.
You got to want it, man. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. You've really got to want to transform. You've really got to want to level up your consciousness and your physical, temporal and physical aspect. And if you don't have that, then, you're just going to continue to be the victim of it, and you're going to continue to run the victim program. And it's just the way that it is. It's actually, the simplicity of things too, sometimes are just right in your face. Certain principles that if you apply those principles to your life, forge something. I mean, I really am harping on Saturnian energy a lot because it is about forging yourself, and allowing, those limitations, those delays, those ignorance, and that karmic shit that you've been dealing with for what? Generations and generations and generations to come to a head here, man. Just be the gatekeeper at the door, man. The watchman on the wall. It doesn't go any further with me. This is it. And everybody needs to be taking that to their bloodline, like you did with your ancestors. That's a big deal, man. This is where we need to be working, in context to our bloodline and our shamanic abilities, to be able to pull those timelines and change those fucking timelines.
Yeah, with this awareness comes that great responsibility, which is that Saturnalian energy in harmony, being able to anchor in the responsibility and work with it in a harmonious way. That's
right.
Not, and that takes hard work, but the rewards are just incredible. Yeah.
Well, this is why they blackened the sun. This is the black sun in context. That's why Saturn is the black sun. Because this is what they've inverted. The energies to the Saturnian construct, because really Saturn, I don't look at planets as being malefic or benevolent. I look at it as energy archetypes that, depending on your ascendant, where your ascendant is placing, this is where you're keyed into in context to your planetary correspondence of your chart signifier. So if you like Tala, you're a Capricorn ascendant, so Saturn becomes very, very powerful for you because of your actual, how you're wielding, what you're here to do, what you're here to really incorporate. Yeah, and so, with me, I'm Libra, so it's Venus, so it's that dark Luciferian energy that I'm transmuting. I don't know I'm not sure where Ashley's is because I'm not sure.
I'm a Virgo ascendant.
Okay, well, it makes total sense then that you're on the health thing, because that's what you need to be incorporating, and it makes total sense. That's where you got targeted.
Oh yeah, I knew that I was. Yeah, I mean, it was my life path to be a nurse, and from the minute I got in there, it was one trauma after another, and then realizing the truth, that they have a cure for the opiate addiction that has been withheld. They knew about it in France since 1935, but they've officially outlawed Ibogaine in the United States in 1965, and it cures opiate addiction with 1 to 2 doses, and it's a plant.
Wow.
And whenever I found that out and looked it up while I was working in the ER, I had a 14-year-old on a fentanyl overdose. He was practically brain dead. His mother's sitting there. I'm doing every 5-minute vitals. And that's whenever I was looking for a cure for addiction or a cure for my antidepressant, because you can't say you're addicted to antidepressant. So they call it withdrawal syndrome, whatever they want to do to euphemize it. But I looked it up standing there next to a kid that had overdosed on fentanyl and found out that they had suppressed the cure. And I just went livid. I went on tilt and I never got over it. And I quit not too long after that. Because I
Wow.
couldn't take it. I walked around to every doctor and I said, "Do you know about this?" No, they've never heard of it because the pharmaceutical companies are responsible for writing every single protocol in the textbooks that they learn from.
Damn.
They make so much money from that. Yeah. And it entraps people in a very low vibrational frequency. I've had 2 family members die because of opiate drugs and synthetic opiates. And it's very frustrating because when I was in India, I studied Ayurveda with this traditional herbalist guy, and they were using the raw opium seed, just ground up in a coffee grinder with ephedra, and giving people tablespoons of this a day to supplement their synthetic opiate addiction. And I got a woman off tramadol. She'd been addicted to tramadol since the age of 15, and she was 30, 28 or something. And she was able to clear that addiction in 3 months and then just stop taking the opium poppy seeds. There was no withdrawals from the seeds because they're just like taking chia seeds or sesame, or it's just a seed, but it still has that property because it's in its raw form. So, you know, that the opium plant itself can be used medicinally. It's just been distorted.
Yeah. Right.
And I was so angry because I just thought, wow, how many people's lives could be saved with this? You know, it treats the pain. It doesn't disassociate people in a dangerous way. It doesn't take away your bone density like the synthetic opiates do. And, you know, they make you lose teeth. They wear down your energy field. They're so destructive, kill your liver off, you know, all the horrible things that synthetic opiates do to people. It's a death sentence. And people could have these amazing herbal things like ibogaine or just the raw seeds and change their lives and manage and treat, you know, their addiction and their pain. Yeah, it's outrageous that these things aren't being utilized properly. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. And of course, what did they take and do with ephedra? They import that now as meth.
Right.
You know, that's
right.
You know, that's what they had to do to that, because it is a healing plant, much like all the other ones. They have a place and a time and a purpose. You know, you not to take any of them in excess, but they all serve a role in our body because they're conscious. They have a consciousness about them. And if you can connect to that consciousness, it'll tell you if you need it or not.
Yes.
Because that's from a higher state of being. But that's what they're so afraid of.
And kinesiology can also help you test these things to see if your body's ready for that type of energy to come into it, right?
Yeah, all the time. And it's just using simple muscle testing. I get them to hold their plant, supplement, whatever it is. And I ask their body. And I also use a point at the back of the head on the occiput. And it's just finding out, you know, if this is compatible for you right now. And then you can find out more information, how long to take it for, how much a day in terms of grams or whatever dosage. It's so accurate. It's incredible. And yeah, there'll be different times where you need different things. Like going back to ephedra, you know, a certain constitution, a person may not need it, but someone else, it could be really powerful. In Chinese medicine, it's called mahung. And yeah, it's really good if people are getting like fatigue and stuff like that. And yeah, very low energy, very yin kind of energy people, ephedra can be. So yeah, it's just knowing what your body needs basically, and having that relationship with the plant on that multidimensional level. Like you said, we can communicate with these plants. They have a consciousness. And the more you tune in and tap into that, you can have that dialogue and create like an ally with that particular herb. It doesn't have to even be a psychedelic herb. It can be, basil or, you know, one of these simple plants like that, peppermint.
Right.
It's got that energy. Yeah, it's still got our consciousness.
Yeah, I think, you know, everything in life, you know, and just, you know, breaking it down into the herbal aspect, you know, everything in life's about balance. And, you know, it's trying to, you know, bringing your actual physical, you know, soul complex, which is what this is. It's part of your soul. Bringing that physical, you know, soul, the soul complex, the physical body into balance with itself.
Yes.
And this is what the earth element in context to earth magic is all about. You know, if you want to take it from Taurus, which is the grounding aspect, and literally like the grounding into the actual nature itself, the Virgo aspect, which is getting into what? The actual implementation of, you know, these medicinal herbs in context, you know, and actually being able to you know, break things down, prune the plant, you know, so to speak, that type of stuff, you know, prune, you get your tree cleaned up, cleared up, and then actually then taking that to the 10th gate of Capricorn, which is the actual manifestation into the reality field after you have your health. This is the problem with people. They're so fucked up inside with their physical health that they can't get anywhere with their etheric aspect because they don't have any healing. There's no healing in their body going on, you know? So if you're tired all the time and you're sickly and you know, you just don't have the motivation, and, you know, and the matrix is basically siphoning your energy in context to your career and what you don't like, you go because you have to, because you got to keep a roof over your head, you got to keep food on your table, you got to keep your family clothed, on and on and on. And all that pressure is on everybody all the time, right? You know, in context to the slave bullshit that's going on the planet, no one has the and then you've got, you know, you've got all the epigenetics going on and all the pharmakia happening and dark sorcery. No one has the time or the energy to even research this stuff, even though it's right there in plain sight. Right there, you can pull it up, anything you want to pull up and study and research now. I mean, we have you know, I mean, think about the volumes of vast volumes of knowledge that we have at our fingertips now.
That's also part of the problem is like there's this over information, flooding of information, and people don't even know. And it's like they have a bunch of plaque on their mind. It's like plaque, you know how that acts in the system. It's like plaque covering their, I don't know,
Their neurons.
Your neurons, yeah, definitely, literally, because like, isn't it true? Like, you guys know, like with dementia, how like there's like the myelin sheath or something like that that covers like like that can get plaqued up too, or something like tangled. And
well, that was what was so under attack with the low fat diet, because the myelin sheath is fat, and so by removing that fat, guess what? Then all of your nerves were exposed, just like shredding the plastic off of an electrical wire. Same difference.
Yeah.
Which is what diabetes does, having an acidotic state and having all these acid colas. It dissolves the myelin sheath, which protects every nerve in your body. That it is the destruction of that myelin sheath that causes neuropathy, causes people to have to go to dialysis because they lose the myelin sheath in their kidneys. Yes, I do believe that through epigenetics and through, you know, if all is mind and all is mental, I believe that we can bring it back into fruition and manifestation with hard work and focus. I believe it. I've seen it. I've seen things that are unbelievable happen and people be healed in unimaginable ways that the books that they have out now would say that it could never happen, that it's permanent. I don't believe that.
I mean, I literally healed my eardrum. Like,
I remember you telling that story. That's so awesome.
Like, it was months and months and months and months. The doctor's like, man, you know, we're just going to have to go in and patch it. And I'm like, no, man, we're not going to patch my ear. I just, you know, I refuse that. I refuse that shit. I'm like, no, I just, you know what? I'm going to heal it. And so I just started on my meditations every morning, man. I just started doing it. And then I went and I could feel like something happening. And I went back in and the doctor blew his mind. He's like, I don't know what you did in 30 days. You have your eardrum back. I mean, my eardrum was 30% gone.
No, you can do it. I have no doubt that you can do it. You can build a scaffolding in the astral or in the mental realm,
right? And
it will manifest in this realm if you have the focus and the will, and can, you know, maintain your third vision or your first vision from your heart. You know.
Yes, right, exactly.
I was just saying, like dealing with the emotional and the traumas and all the imprints that we're holding on to, all the armoring and stuff that actually creates those illnesses. Because it's often there's that psychosomatic reflection. So the moment we start to clear that stuff out and do that shadow work, we can actually start to heal a lot of physical stuff as well. German new medicine is really interesting because it gets into all of that, you know, actually acknowledging those events in our life and the epigenetics that we have held on to, these traumas through our bloodlines and stuff like that, and how we can heal and clear that. And that will remove a lot of these miasms and illnesses and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I've just been to school in Dallas at the National Laser Institute, and I learned about platelet-rich plasma, where you can just draw your own blood, put it in a centrifuge, take off the portion of the plasma that's closest to the red blood cells, you know, because you get 2 layers there, and that is your own stem cells. You could put it in your ear if you had a busted eardrum. You could put it in your eye if you wanted. If you had an infection you couldn't get rid of. You can inject it into your scalp and regrow your hair. You can put it in your joints and get rid of arthritis. There is so much you can do with what you make in your own body right now, and it is Big Pharma's worst enemy.
So how would you do it in your joints?
They inject it. It's just an intra-articular injection, just like they do steroids that destroy your joints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got an entire textbook I can send you on it if you're interested in it. You just go to your doctor. Anybody that can inject a steroid into your joint can also inject this. And it provides immediate pain relief. And within 4 to 6 weeks, you're starting to regrow your own cartilage.
So literally meniscus starts to regrow.
Yes. You can do it in rotator cuffs. Of course, when they do open heart surgery, they put it on top of your sternum that's been cut open before they sew you up to help it heal faster.
Wow.
I mean, there's so many uses for it.
Wow.
But it's not being utilized much right now, is it? It's more so being utilized in beauty for hair loss and
in aesthetics, it's kind of newer. However, because it's becoming so popular so fast, because you can actually make your own dermal filler, like they're using, these high hyaluronic acids that are synthetics now that can last for much longer than they initially said to fill in cheeks and things. But you can make your own filler by warming the plasma up, and then it gets a jelly consistency, and then it regrows your own stem cells. It puts the color back in your lips, gets rid of dark circles, and they're not, it's your own stuff. But you can do it, regrow eyelashes, regrow eyebrows, but that's just for the beauty part of it. But you can use it all over in your body. I have no doubt that they could inject it into your pancreas to where you make insulin and you would make new insulin cells. But are they going to do that?
Too much money off people with diabetes. Yeah.
Right.
Life-changing stuff.
Yeah, because stem cells, they're basically cells that don't have a cause.
Right. They're differentiated by the surrounding tissue that you inject them or put them into.
So they become like a chameleon to whatever they come in contact with.
Yeah, if you're healthy enough, you can use your own stem cells. Of course, there's some people that can't, that have poor immune systems, liver disease, platelet disorders, cancer, things like that. But, but that's oftentimes when you've waited so long after all these poor lifestyle choices that have now become ancestral, because it gets in the DNA, and then you got
that's
all
the whole
these
deal, man.
Inherited diseases, and it's all because of that. But it's all reversible. Just in the same way we got it, we can reverse it.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, though. You can't just let it keep going. You got to start, bringing things back.
Yes.
Instead of letting them go, we got to bring them back. And I think that's part of the problem with people. As a society, we become so dependent on, everything that's accessible and comfortable and easy to do. And, fast food is a great example of that. People just want to go through the drive-through after work and pick up a burger at McDonald's and go home.
Sure. We're all guilty of it because of the convenience at some point.
Exactly.
Except Tala, maybe. I think she eats better than all of us.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I've never eaten McDonald's. I must be one of the few people on earth that's never eaten McDonald's or KFC or any of that.
You are.
I'm too sensitive for that stuff.
The glyphosate aspect, let's just look at that for a second. They are spraying that shit everywhere. I saw a person literally over here, one of my neighbors, big bottle of Roundup, doing nothing but going around his garden. I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, he's poisoning himself.
And then then they go and grow fruits and vegetables in the same grass that they sprayed it in. It's like, Huh?
They spray it on the wheat after they harvest it to stop bugs from getting on the wheat. And that's why so many people are gluten intolerant now. It's not the actual gluten, it's that processing that they've done with the chemical ingesting, and then they get leaky gut. I noticed the difference because as a child, I could eat wheat, and then Monsanto came in to Australia, changed the farming practice, and all of a sudden I had allergic reaction. I'd get stomach cramps, bloating, feel like shit. But then I went over to certain countries that never let Monsanto in, like Hungary and Greece, and I could eat white bread over there, no problem. And it was fine. I was digesting it perfectly. And I got back to Australia thinking, oh yeah, I can eat wheat. So I was fine. And I had like a few pieces of pizza and I was so sick for maybe like 3 days. Wow. And I just went, never again. So it's just that sensitivity once again to the chemical. It's evil stuff, you know, the way it erodes once again the gut. You get leaky gut, and then that leads to an array of health problems from there. Yeah, and why people have got, you know, IBS and all these different issues. Yeah, depression, leaky gut, depression.
Depression is huge with leaky gut because it messes. Because, like I said, your serotonin is produced in the gut,
right?
A good majority of it. And so whenever that's thrown off balance, you can't even make serotonin right.
Like selective breeding, like all the vegetables we have and stuff have been selectively bred over the years, you know, through pollination and crossbreeding and, you know, grafting. That's fine. That seems to be okay. But it's when you actually play around with genetics, and it's the same with all this CRISPR stuff where they want to change the human genome and mRNA injections and all this kind of stuff. You're playing with things on a genetic level. And that's where I think things get very messy and dangerous. And it's probably the same thing as what happened in Atlantis. I think they were playing around with genetics and it went crazy and it went into a cataclysm because of that. So yeah, it's pretty full on.
Well, we're dealing with some major wormhole technology in context of CERN at this point as well. You know, where they're literally opening interdimensional rifts. I mean, that's what they're doing.
I've seen them. I've had dreams where I've been shown these rifts. And I read the scientific article recently, and it was by someone that worked at CERN. And they were saying in 2019, I think it was, a tear was torn open in the Earth's magnetosphere because of the CERN activation they did at that time. So that's literally a rift that's been torn open. And this was a scientific article. And then I was having these dreams where I was being shown this rift to the abyss. And then all these individuals that were having to really come into full activation with their consciousness to repair it. And that was the positive part of it. I was actually seeing those that are healed and aligned actually healing these rifts and sealing them back off, because this is where this inverted energy is coming from. And that's the same as that black sun, you know, energy. Yeah, it's just amplifying that. It's tearing open more wormholes to that particular like Weezer matrix or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So when you're looking at that type of technology, take it to the Needlecraft, take it to the old ones, to Cthulhu, the Hydra aspect. Is that what's really going on in context to what they're trying to open up on an interdimensional level, so that literally the human race becomes a host to what they're pulling through the interdimension in context?
Yes, for sure.
So they're building the system, the AI system, to that aspect within them, and then the Hydra also within the blood, you know, and the nervous system, literally just mirroring the nervous system, building the graphene to the nervous system itself, and creating a whole new AI tree.
Yeah, definitely. But this AI has been around for millions.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's just something that they're rebooting in context to what they wanted to do.
And I think this is a desperate attempt because of what's going on energetically and with our consciousness at this time in terms of the procession and what is actually able to happen and come online now in terms of like the photonic light, the great attractor, the energy that we're able to hold. I think they're scared of where we can be in terms of planetary ascension. And so they're creating these overlay grids, you know, through these towers, these genetic modifications, EMF frequencies, all of this stuff is trying to keep that lockdown from being, you know, dominant on the Earth. But I just feel like the energy of, you know, that central sun is so much more powerful. You know, it's just going to blow all that shit away. but that AI timeline is still there. We've all seen it. We're experiencing it now, you know, within the collective, but yeah, we're also seeing it in dreams and stuff like that. So it's that paradox we've got to kind of harmonize.
So the great attractor, you brought that up, that sits at 14 to 21 degrees Sagittarius. Because this is really, we're talking about galactic astrology here. This is really important to understand what role you're playing in your templating. Huge magnetic pole energies. I mean, the great attractor pulls in tens of thousands of galaxies around it, literally in a huge cycle. When we're dealing with that particular energy, you know, you're basically dealing it from 14 to 21 degrees. So maybe you don't have a Sagittarian placing there, but you have a trine. You have an aspect. You have, you know, something there in context to that, see? And so then you can look at that and see, you know, okay, so this is the energy that I'm working with in context of what I'm actually pulling in galactically within myself on the galactic spiral.
Yep. Because we're all like mini magnets also, right? So it's like you're saying, like the head is electric and the heart, maybe the heart's magnetic. So we're electromagnetic beings. So yeah, definitely.
Right. And so if all is within, we're dealing with a certain energy. And you know what's interesting about that is that there's another one. It's called the shapely attractor. Now, the shapely attractor literally is 2.39 degrees Scorpio. So when we're looking at that particular aspect, what are we looking at? We're looking at things that are cloaked, that are hidden in the reality field. Do you realize that the main players on the field right now, Biden, Bill Gates, Putin, Musk, they all have an aspect to this position. They have a pillar that's connected or aligned with this particular aspect. And we just had the South Node literally transit the shapely attractor. It is transiting it right now. So it's everything that's being hidden is being revealed literally now. We're going to start to see things that are going to come out that, you know, we already know, but the public doesn't know shit about yet. The reason why they're there playing the role is because that's their templating. See, so they're in that Biden's not there because he's a president or because he was elected. He's there because of his templating.
Like a talisman.
He's holding the frequency there.
Isn't that why, like, people think that they're just playing? It's like nothing personal. They're just playing a part of the cosmic dance or the part of the cosmic theater. They're just playing their roles and everything. There's nothing personal behind it. But
well, there's something personal behind it. It's their galactic ass on the line, is what it is.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we should excuse their behavior whatsoever.
They're being hosted. So what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with high-level fallen entities that their ass is on the line. And if they don't get this AI thing done, they don't get it done, guess what? They're space dust. They're not, their consciousness is gone. They have nothing left. So that's why this war is so intense. Because we're dealing with actual, you know, entities that are ancient, old, and they basically, you know, they want to use the human race as a host, basically on a global level, and host the human race. This is what we're dealing with. This is why this war is so intense on the conscious level. This is why you're here, I'm here. This is the reason we're here to hold the ancient timeline, the old timeline of our ancestors before all this shit happened. We're here to hold that, bring that shit back into the reality field and realign things back to where they're supposed to be. I've been listening to a few people lately, and they've been talking about the balls that it takes to incarnate into, you know, to do what we're doing, to come into this earth, into this timeline where we're at right now, and actually take this, you know, and have the courage and the strength and the fortitude, you know, and I commend you guys for incarnating into this reality field to do this, because this is what we're here to do. And it takes a lot of courage with what's happening right now, the desperation that's taking place in the reality field. You can see it all around us. That shit is really starting to impact things. We're just getting started. But I'm telling you, man, these activations that are coming are going to really level some things up with all of us here. And just talking about herbal alchemy, we're making the choices to our temporal, our physical, our etheric, our our soul complex, our spirit. We're making those choices to level ourselves up and not get pulled into the bullshit. It takes a lot of guts, man. It takes a lot of guts to do this.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys brought the purple alchemy thing, because the power behind language, just the mere fact that the media is going on 24/7, and anybody, actually even your neighbor, can whisper in your ear to say something that there's a threat outside, and then that changes your whole mood. And it's like it is a spell. And so that alone is just so powerful. Just the power of language, and how easily we can be tricked into a spell. Also, it takes great discernment once you're in this realm and you are, quote unquote, awakened.
Yes, the things that you allow yourself to believe instantly change the chemistry in your body and either make you a habitable place for something good or for something bad. It's just that quick.
Right.
Yeah, your mood dictates your perceptions, dictates your reality, right? It's really crazy.
The I am affirmation, So if people are saying I am depressed or I am this,
yes,
that's creating
absolutely
a whole energy frequency.
I mean, that's a huge thing I'm always talking about. I'm always teaching that, because that literally is what you're wielding to the I am itself. Igniting your heart core intelligence and your first eye is what we do. And when that difference comes in our state of mind, that's the awareness that we're creating in context to that, so that we don't get pulled back into the loops, getting off of the hamster wheels, allowing yourself to become that I am in that present moment, and pulling in all your incarnations in context to that, working with the ancestral energy, working with it, and then being able to change then your future to this. What do you guys think about creating density within these incarnations? So let's say, for example, Ashley, Tala, Sujay, that this is the 5th or 6th time you've actually done this incarnation in your particular body, that you've went through this process and this timeline. You've come back and you've created what's called a density point or a nodal point, where now you are actually having major synchronicities with what you're remembering. Things that are happening on the timeline are becoming a remembrance now, and not just necessarily, you're not looking at things as a coincidence any longer, but like as a remembrance. Like, I remember doing this, I remember that happening. And so, so literally you're creating like a density now that you're holding within your contemplating and your soul complex, that now, with the stellar activations that are going on, this stuff is really going to start to explode. What do you guys think about that concept? Go ahead, Ashley.
I think that we are, I jokingly say all the time, like, this world could use a really good EMP right now, because of all this AI. And someone pointed out to me that as we activate, we are the EMP to the field. And we deactivate everything around us by what we are vibrating at. We carry the central sun within us. And if the EMP comes from the central sun, we can destroy any AI in our vicinity based on our activations and our willingness to get in touch with the higher force within ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, we become nuclear. I mean, at that point, we are.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And it all shuts down. It can't even approach.
Yeah.
And in doing so, that removes the false veil layer that Tala was talking about, even in her dream, that, where you can kind of weave in and out of the timelines. It deactivates that matrix timeline because it can't function around us when we activate for real.
Right. Exactly.
And we get confirmation after confirmation in terms of knowing instead of just wondering. It's like a deep knowing. And I know I've had that with all of you guys, these really incredible synchronicities that will kind of bounce off each other. And so it's not just something you're experiencing on your own. It's this connection that we're experiencing, but it's also that remembering within ourselves. And because we're doing that, we're able to kind of bounce those frequencies and activate even more in terms of our original templating. So yeah, and the synchronicity just gets wild.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've noticed since a child. I've always had synchronicities, remembrances, deja vus, whatever you want to call them, and interface with all kinds of stuff. You know, you tell your parents and they think you're crazy. You're seeing and hearing things that, you know, supposedly aren't there, but they actually are there. It's just because you have created such a density with our incarnations now going through the cycles that we're able to then catch up to the soul cycle in the timeline within ourselves. And so that as we actually do that and we catch things up, right, the synchronicities just go off the charts. Because now we're connecting, because we're not syncing with the matrix system, we're syncing with the actual timeline that we're supposed to be on. There's a difference.
Alignment. Yep, true alignment.
Yeah, you know, and so then that's literally changing the matrix system to that aspect, and so then it jams them up because they're like, oh shit, we got to recalibrate. So then you get these feedback loops called, what do they call that shit? What's the name of it? It was real popular for a while, but Mandela effects. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Purging and splitting.
Yeah, you make it glitch.
Yeah, right, because it glitches out. And so then it's like, so then everybody, when it happens, right, and the timeline gets shifted because of our density here, because now we're not in density 1 anymore. See, we're in density 2 or we're density 3. See? So we've climbed the harmonic universe, right? Yeah. So we're literally tapping into the original, you know, timeline that's in context to what's beyond here. And we're glitching out the matrix and creating our own synchronicities in context to the sine wave, writing that sine wave, right? And we're literally, man, dropping bombs inside the matrix all the time.
That's it. And when you are activated and you are that at that atomic level and you have really like had that, you're in that spiritual groove where you've been doing it and you can feel it, you know, you can feel it all around you, that the air is different. It changes things. It's your words are significantly more powerful, which is whenever you do start to get closer to that central source.
That's ninth house, man.
Really watch what you're saying because you can manifest instantly, you know?
Yep, that's fire magic right there, man. That's ninth house. That's your galactic center, man. That's Jupiter. That's what's anchoring that in context of the solar spiral. Then, you know, you're literally start to have this like abracadabra moments, you know, what you speak comes to pass, you know, and it comes and goes. It doesn't happen all the time. You know, there's times when things take time, you know, to manifest and to bring out. But then there's times when, man, it's on rapid fire and you're just like one sync after another, boom, 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 all day long. And you're just like going, wow, man, this is very, very powerful, you know, and it's not because you're using the signs as a navigation point. The signs are just a manifestation of your connection with the higher force itself.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Yeah, it's more seasonal. It's almost like just like you're planting yourself. You are like a tree. You're not supposed to produce fruit all the time. You're not supposed to.
Exactly.
So you go through seasons, and we would all love to just stay in that manifestation state because it feels amazing whenever you see instant gratification from doing the work and from, you know, speaking the truth or whatever's going on. However you practice, you know, and evolve in your own magic, but you can't. That's not how it's supposed to be in nature. We're in cycles.
Exactly.
Have that expansion, contraction. Yeah. The yin and the yang. Yeah.
And you do have to continue. You do have to continue to clear things, stack and burn. You know, you do have to continue to go through the pruning process, just like a plant would, you know, so that you can grow deeper roots and more foliage and more fruit. You know, if you want to look at it in context, that's your 6th house. when you're dealing with the Virgo energy to that pruning aspect. That's why things are locked down from Virgo. I mean, you can see it with the health and the pharmakia. This is where they do it to the Tesseract. They lock things down and then it just travels down. Most people don't even get out of the narcissistic aspect to their own Aries energy. See, because their Aries energy is actually what's running their templating. And even if they don't have Aries places, it's still running it because of the lockdown to the first veil. So what happens is that you never get the seed ignited. The seed never gets ignited in the ground. It just lays dormant. And so if you don't have that activation, which is what actually Aries is supposed to be, fire, the activation of the fire aspect to your warrior, you never get the taproot of Taurus. Taurus never gets grounded. You never find the grounding. And then when you do find the grounding, you're always battling with your self-worth, your self-validation, comparing yourself to others, all that shit, dealing with the shadow aspect of Taurus. And it just climbs the ladder to Gemini, Cancer, Leo, all the way up to Virgo. Once you hit the 7th gate and find the balance, find the true balance of things within yourself, that's when the actual elements come online in your life. The elements of the magician herself.
Absolutely. I see us all like in the spiritual realm, we have an electromagnetic field, and it is like a Taurus field.
Mm-hmm.
And that Taurus field, when you really start to activate, it spins.
Yes, it does.
And so whenever you're out of balance, it's just like any spinning top out of balance, you're just going to wobble onto the side.
That's why the earth is out of balance.
Oh yeah, it's exactly. It's got the wobble. That's what how many people have that, because they're still aligned at a cataclysmic state of consciousness that's been that way for so long now. But I can't believe that what's happening, with me and the healing that's gone on personally isn't happening. I'm not the only one. I wasn't the only one that woke up in 2007 either. I just didn't reach out to anybody.
Right.
We were all kind of, technology, and it's not like it is now. It was happening all over the world, almost strategically sporadic. So I know it's happening. And my biggest thing that I came away with from the experience that I have was that the goddess energy, that divine feminine, is being released right now. It's being set free, be it within the mind of a man or within the heart of a woman, however you want to look at it. I feel like I'm not the only one, and we're going to see more and more of it as people actually get in touch with the true power of the divine feminine in this reality, and reverse the inversion of the divine feminine that we currently have right now.
The Lilith placing as being a shadow aspect of that, or Eris, if you want to take it to Eris, which is a dwarf planet, which is in Aries at the moment. When you're looking at this type of energy, there's always going to be a shadow to that. But to be able to flip that and bring that into a place of alignment where the womb.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Where the womb becomes detoxified. So it's no longer birthing the dark aspects, the shadow aspects anymore. And literally, like you were saying, Tal, you're sealing off the Weezadek, sealing off the rift. See? And once that starts to happen, literally, we're starving these motherfuckers here.
That's right.
We're starving them.
I was just saying it's like a major parasite cleanse, and when the parasites are being starved, they act out even more. We get that reaction.
Yeah, think about whenever you detoxify your body, the crazy, insane cravings that you get until you break through that 3-day, 4-day, cycle of parasitic life. The life cycle where you're starving them out and the yeast and all that starts to die off. But in that moment, about that 3rd day, you want like a cigarette and a shot of vodka and some Little Debbie's, all of it at once together, and then you get that euphoric feeling when they die off, and then you don't want any of that. So it's a parasitic consciousness that's acting to pull this negative crap into your flesh.
Yeah.
So it's like, that wasn't even me.
It's not you.
Hijack.
It's not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny you said Little W's. I saw those in the store the other day. I remember as a kid eating those. I was like, man, those look good. Pass them on by.
Yeah, you gotta just say no, Debbie.
Okay, I think here we're going to take things into a break. Blue Per Oracle, Hardcore Productions. We'll be back with the last part of this awesome segment that we're doing, getting into how the parasite works, how the mind virus works, and we will conclude with the last part of this after the break. Okay, we'll see you soon.
The race is wrong, the book is read.
type 3, 4, 5 day type of cleanse, you're recommending that basically you get to do a parasite cleanse to begin with. They call that a master cleanse. Is that what that's called?
Yeah. And after I do the master cleanse, I will go in and do a gallbladder cleanse. And I have a protocol for that, which gets all of those little strange green things out of your gallbladder and your liver. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're basically they're on their way to becoming gallstones. So you can prevent, having to get your gallbladder out most of the time. Of course, everybody's got different medical problems, but this is preventative. If you've already got major problems, you got to talk to your doctor first, because you don't want to be causing more problems. But that master cleanse, I've done it several times, and it always makes me feel amazing. My energy levels shoot way up, except the first couple days are rough. It's a good time to plan it whenever you don't have to go to work the next day, like on a weekend, or if you've got a few days off, so you can kind of chill. And then do the I personally like the lemon juice, organic maple syrup, and cayenne pepper to start off with. It just jump starts everything.
You make a tea out of that?
Oh yeah. I just make a big gallon thing like it's lemonade, like you're making organic lemonade with the lemons and the maple syrup, and then just sprinkle the cayenne pepper. I get it in the capsules, and they each have a burn factor on them. I get a pretty good burn factor. I forgot units or whatever. And then just slowly do it up. There's a chemical in cayenne pepper that is not in anything else that stimulates production of certain enzymes in your stomach that just start to purge you out better than anything else I found.
So you're literally like burning the parasite out.
Uh-huh.
You're burning stuff out of your system.
Yep.
Creating a fire within yourself.
Oh, it feels like it too. Make no mistake, as you get on that, you keep increasing that cayenne up to about the third day, and you're literally like sitting there sweating.
Yeah.
Like you're in your own little sauna.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
This is too much information, but after doing it for a week, I was still going to the toilet. And I was living a quite healthy lifestyle, eating organic food. I grew my own, like myself, and everything like that prior to this, but still doing this fast for 7 days. Your intestines are cleaning stuff out. So it's pretty incredible to think all the shit people are full of, quite literally.
And the biofilms all the films that you build up on the inside of your intestines that prevent absorption of nutrients and minerals, you just melt those things off, and then all of a sudden you can actually absorb stuff again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where parasites and bacteria and candida and all that thrive, when you've got that biofilm and the heavy metals and everything. It's a breeding ground for all of that. Yeah. And Sujai and I have been talking about is enemas and colonics and stuff like that as well. And that's also a wonderful way to remove these things. Coffee enemas. Like it's a bit graphic and confronting for people, but it works. In terms of the
it's time for us to grow up and be able to talk about all the stuff in our body. This is like our multidimensional bio spaceship. We have to be able to clean out the tailpipe and clean out up at the top. Okay, you don't ignore the back of your car because that's where the exhaust comes out. I mean, come on, you got to just be the adult about it. Nobody wants to think about it, but the way that you feel after you do it, it speaks for itself. You can think clearly. You don't have mood swings. You can sleep better. Because if you think that those parasites are just telling you to go eat McDonald's French fries, no, they're telling you all kinds of crap.
Yes, right, exactly.
Yeah, because that's on an etheric level as well. You've got the physical parasites, and then you've got the dimensional astral parasites, and that creates all this negative self-talk and destructive tendencies.
Yeah.
Sabotage programs, it's huge. Yeah, the levels that work.
Astral hygiene is what I like to call it.
Yes.
So important.
Yeah, people don't realize how much they're actually keyed into, the whole astral plane itself, and the actual being told what to do all the time, and their mind's totally programmed to what the parasite, because it wants to be fed, is actually telling them to do. And it goes down all the way down to everything that they have in the supermarket. If you walk into a supermarket, I don't care where it's at, it doesn't matter where in the world it is full of poison. Literally.
Totally. Even the farmer's market here, you've got people, unless they're doing organic, you're getting sprayed with chemicals every time you eat. I try not to think about it a lot. I just do what I can because it can be totally overwhelming sometimes. Just like you said earlier, trying to just live and pay the bills and handle business and not go insane with all the different ways we're attacked. You do the best you can. You get your distilled water, your reverse osmosis water is a huge forward step.
It is.
Whenever you see what comes out of the tank on those reverse osmosis, dude, I don't know what all that crap is, but it's not supposed to go in the body.
No.
Water's important too because it holds the energy, it holds the imprint of our life force, and we're mainly made up of water. So yeah, we've got to purify that. And it's just taking small steps, like doing one thing, like changing your water supply and giving up one thing that might be bad for you, like aspartame or processed whatever, and just slowly, step by step, you can start to transform things.
Calculate, writing down everything I put in my body every day. So, I had 16 ounces of water. Okay, what kind of water was it? I just ate whatever. I just did this. I just did that. So if you actually add all that up in a year, think about how much toxic shit people put in their body in a year. 365 days. It just builds up into your system. Then we wonder why we got a health crisis in the country, in the world. You know, it's because your body's not made to filter and clear all that shit.
No,
it overtakes you.
It does. It slowly does. And the number one, what the main thing is you're getting out of your water, of course, is fluoride because they're putting that in the water. Well, the number one ingredient in these antidepressants, many of them, and they don't have to list it because it's an inactive ingredient, is fluoride.
Wow.
Number one ingredient in Zoloft, I think. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's like part of the base for it. I mean, where was fluoride initially developed? During World War One.
Yeah, it's a neurotoxin, man. It's a neurotoxin.
Right. I mean, those things drop your IQ 10 to 15 points before you ever get out the door.
Wow.
It creates apathy as well. So it stops people from wanting to heal because they become apathetic and they don't care anymore because of that calcification of the pineal gland and calcification of all the body, the joints, like we were talking about, myelin sheath, and the whole body gets calcified in a really horrific way. You get oxidative stress and you just become exhausted and apathetic. And then, nobody wants to heal when they're exhausted and apathetic. So yeah, that's a major one. Got to remove that fluoride. And tamarind, which is an Indian plant that can be used as like a chutney and stuff like that, is a really, really good herb to get rid of fluoride out of the body. I think tulsi as well, a few Ayurvedic remedies. I think dandelion helps. So there's some wonderful herbs out there that can really help eliminate that.
Tulsi help with heavy metals?
Yes. Yeah, it's brilliant stuff. It's another
EDTA. Tulsi tea and EDTA, which you can get on Amazon or whatever, is an oral chelation agent to pull aluminum and mercury out. And I feel better when I take that too.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's been a part of my regimen. I don't stay on it all the time. I probably do it 1 month out of a quarter. Just because I don't want to be taking a bunch of pills all the time,
Right, like the Parasite cleanse. You want to do it, like you said, for like a week, but then the life cycle of a parasite, it's either 28 or 40 days, I forget. But hitting it again, like a little bit after that, just to stop the second cycle of the eggs from hatching out is really
right. Yeah,
because you don't have to do it the whole way, but just
because as they're under stress, they're going to want to lay eggs.
Yeah, you kill the live parasites, but the eggs are still there, and they're going to hatch out like days later or whatever. And you've got to hit the next cycle, and then you can fully eliminate it from the body. And I take neem like quite often because that's a really good herb that kills parasites, and it's not too taxing on the body. Like I find the black walnut, the wormwood, and the clove, it's quite intense. They're really powerful medicinal things, but yeah, it can stress the liver a little bit too. So you've got to support your liver with things like milk thistle and arginine, L-arginine, stuff like L-lysine and stuff like that. But it's really, really good. Just something like neem because it's the superfood as well. I love all these herbs. They're just brilliant.
like massive heavy detoxification. You want to be really gentle on yourself because you'll end up in
Yes.
a Herxheimer reaction, which will actually make you sick from the toxins that you're expelling. So
Right.
you're not trying to go down and like, I'm doing a full detox, I'm cleaning out my soul, and then next thing you know, you got the flu in there and you're achy and puking. So, or you get a cold because it taxes your immune system too much. So it's important to do your vitamin C and rest and get away
Okay.
from the computer, put your feet on the earth, listen to the music that you love,
Yeah. Right.
bring it down from this
Yeah.
world constantly demanding every moment.
Yeah. I mean, it is a process, just like everything else. It's an alchemical process that you're going through. And, if you're looking at it from either an etheric level or physical level, you're having biochemical reactions
Mhm.
in context to everything that's going on all day long in your body. There's thousands of biochemical reactions happening in your body every day.
Every
And
second.
and
Yep.
on etheric level, it's the same thing when you're dealing with clearing out parasitical consciousness.
Mhm.
So when you're going through the alchemical biospiritual regenesis and that process, you have to realize you're in it for the long haul here. This isn't
Mhm.
something that's a wham bam boom bam, do it
No,
5 minutes, have it your way at Burger King. you
this is
know
years. This is
yeah,
years. You're going to be like, I've been working on this since 2018.
yeah.
It was really just in the last year that I started having massive breakthroughs, but I just kept doing it. Even if I didn't do it all the time, I still would stick. I would come back around the next month and just do the best I could. If you're fighting with other diseases and other illnesses, you have to take that into consideration too, because you want to make sure that you're not aggravating something else,
Right.
especially with this massive warfare that has been waged on the immune system at the DNA level.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. And the nerve induction that goes on every day,
Hmm.
in context to everything that's going, all the epigenetics that's actually happening, from the air to the earth, to, everything that's going on with your food, the water we're drinking, the air we're breathing, all the way down the line. Literally there's poisoning going on. And it's really, if you want to, take a check of the, a barometer check or a level check of the consciousness of the human race, it's very low right now.
Yeah.
Things are not, but in the midst of that, it's like the guy or the girl in their lives where they're making these stupid choices, ignorance, right? Not understanding how things work. And they keep doing it over and over. And then, of course, the karmic retribution comes back and boomerangs back, knocks them on their ass. Okay. And then they're going, after the third or fourth or fifth time getting knocked on your ass, you start to look at things, you go, well, maybe it's me.
Hmm.
So there is an awakening at the bottom of the hole, so to speak, and maybe that's what's happening with people. Maybe we're getting at a point in the world where things are how bad do they have to get before people actually are going to say, wait a second, there is something really seriously wrong here, you know? And then they actually do start to ask the questions, you know?
I am seeing it. I really am seeing it. Whenever I went to this medical training in Dallas for 2 weeks, it was with other medical professionals, and I spoke with people that had worked in ER. One woman that I trained with was the head of an entire hospital system in Oklahoma, and everyone that I spoke with is going, never again. I'll never be a part of that again. And so that has really been lifting me up to really see that happen, because in my chosen field, I was feeling like I was completely alone. But there's a bunch of angry nurses and there's a lot of angry doctors right now. And I'm getting to really see it as I get back into the medical field right now. And there is an entire parallel society of doctors and nurses forming. One of them is the FLCCC, which actually has the V word, post V recovery treatment protocols on their website, which include
Wow.
everything from glutathione to methylene blue, NAC, high dose vitamin C. There's a beautiful chart on the second page of their protocol PDF that's on their website to help actually repair you at the DNA level. That's what methylene blue does. I've just discovered it myself and have been taking it, and I'm getting some amazing restorative rest like I haven't had in years. And it's an old school drug. And guess what? It's an anti-parasite drug. Why do these anti-parasite drugs work so well in this realm?
Where do you find this at? Methylene blue.
I got it from somebody that's in network. It's thearcanum.io. He's actually a friend of a bunch of people we know. He's a real alchemist, and I found it on his page. It's $44. And you wouldn't believe all the research that has been done on it. Because guess what? It's been around since 1890. It was replaced with hydroquinone, the one that's for malarial drug. You know, that they suppressed so much in the last 3 years. Like, oh, you don't need that. Yeah, that's what methylene blue was before hydroquinone.
Okay.
And yeah, it's got so many uses. It actually treats schizophrenia, bipolar depression, anti-cancer, lengthens the telomeres, restores your DNA. The list goes on and on. Anti-inflammatory. It's also a nootropic, so it makes you smarter. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of studies on this on PubMed, you know.
Wow.
But that's on the FLCCC protocol for DNA recovery post-V. So and that's a whole group of nurses and doctors all over the United States, and they have their own telemedicine network now in every state. So if you can't find a doctor that'll do these protocols, you can go there and get one by telemedicine.
Wow.
And it really lifts me up to see that it's becoming real. You know, you don't have to go to the hospital and just be handed pills, you know, or handed a shot, you know, with no ground level cures.
Wow. You know, these things are starting to come out. They're starting to, remanifest, come back up. And, we have to be, the arbiters of change ourselves.
Right. And there's a renaissance coming because I'm telling you, these people in the medical field, there's some smart people over there that they realize that they got used and abused along with everybody else. And they were the ones carrying it out.
Right.
And so many people have left nursing completely, and they're going to places like that where you can get your own medical director and go back into people's homes, and it's all on an app.
Yeah. Wow.
You can order your own nurse to come to your house and have a telemedicine consult for $100.
Wow.
You don't have to go to the hospital and face all that nightmare. You know?
Wow.
It is happening.
That's incredible. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going on. You know. Exposing the cult of the medics, right? I mean, that's
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the same verbiage as we might in our network with knowing about that specific documentary.
Yeah.
But they said it in so many words. I talked to probably 30 or 40 medical professionals in this last month that told me their story and what they went through and how they were used and abused in the hospital. And they are going out on their own and have made their own path, formed their own LLC. And now they have their own medical director that is on call for them. And they get to do like healing protocols that are in the causal plane. They're not treating, symptoms with antidepressants. They're going to, and doing those high dose vitamin C, which by the way, whenever people were given that in the few hospitals that allowed it, no one died on the vent.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, those things were all suppressed, but you can only suppress people for so long, and people are fighting back, and they're going to take back the power, back into the homes like nursing was 100 years ago or 150 years ago when Nightingale started all this. You can treat somebody in their environment. That's the real assessment.
Yeah, it's the real deal there. I mean, think about the sacrifice in context to what has been done. Like you're talking about the nightmares that people had to go through, that went through, and didn't make it, and that sacrifice, of life force energy, literally, like we're dealing with those type of, this is what we're dealing with. This is the reality of it, all the way down, all the way down to, cancer. I mean, you name the disease, our bodies, I don't care what it is, can be healed.
Yep.
You can get out of whatever you're in and you can do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You want to wrap it up, Tala?
Yeah, I think we've covered some really important ground here. We could probably extrapolate even more. Maybe we need to do another session. But yeah, there's just so many solutions out there. It's just about attuning ourselves and getting the right gnosis, basically. And it's a journey, step by step. We're all taking this, and even just having that intention to want to heal is really powerful, because then you can start to actualize that in terms of the earth energy, the earth magic, and bring that into your life. By taking these practical steps. Some of these wonderful things all of you guys have mentioned can make such a huge difference to our well-being and our health and our state of mind. Once again, that's the most important thing as well. Healing the emotions, the thoughts, clearing out the parasite, all these things are so integral. So yeah, I just encourage everybody to take that journey, because it's worth it. It really is. The benefits over time are incredible.
Ashley, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I just want to say that, we do have control through our thoughts, and we can control our environment to some degree. We can make small changes, that don't seem like a lot, but over time will drastically change our health and level of being, our level of consciousness. And even though it's like we constantly hear bad news all the time, there are real people out there that are changing the medical field that care. You just got to dig in and find them. You got to do your research. They're not just going to pop up because, you got to learn. You got to look. These people are suppressed from the modern media, and they're suppressed from, like, you look somebody up on Google, you're not going to find these people. They're, they're taken off of the search engines. I like to use the Tor browser as my search engine personally.
Right.
And then I'll copy and paste the address back into, my mainstream Firefox or whatever. Just dig. You gotta dig for it, but it's out there, and we don't have to sit and focus on the negative. It's okay to point out all the problems, but these are, there's real solutions, and you can change yourself on a DNA level, and have ancestral curses broken, like that happened to me, that didn't just go from the past, but I know that curse was broken, and now my daughter's even doing better. It transcended dimensions and time,
Yes. Awesome.
So, and following the ancestral path and getting out of the triangulation, so you're not sitting there in guilt. That's another key factor,
Yes.
Questioning your thoughts and watching your words and keeping positive intentions, and you can change within and without.
Absolutely. Sujay, you have anything you want to add?
I think you guys covered everything. Just everyone use as much as you can in your power to get right and move that energy. Keep moving your energy.
Thank you guys for taking time to come together here and bring your knowledge base to the podcast. And I'm really proud of you guys. I mean, I really am, because this work is not easy, and when you're in the midst of it, and you're in that grind, and you're really starting to purge and clear, stack and burn, there's those things that come up, say, oh, it's just too hard, and you want to give up at times. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with pulling back and recalibrating and resting and, allowing things to, kind of mellow out a little bit and then get back on it. The key is to get back on it, and not allow yourself to get apathy, stagnant, entropy, but keep pushing the envelope in your life. And as you continue to do that, like you said, Ashley, you've been doing this since 2018. You're getting the breakthrough now. It takes years, and that's not a disencouragement or disempowering factor. No. It just means that you're changing your lifestyle choices, and you're bringing things into place where you're empowering yourself as an individual to really make transformative change in your life. That's what it's all about. I mean, if you can do that, and you can do it in baby steps at first, and then take bigger steps as you begin to gain momentum with things will transform. I guarantee you will transform. It's going to happen.
It's inertia.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's going to happen.